Welcome everybody to another Monmouth Regional Chamber of Commerce Lunch and Learn webinar. We are very excited for our topic today. We are going to go right into it and get started. Our first speaker for today is one of our fellow board members. Gerry, the floor is yours. Look forward to hear what you have to say.
Tamara, do you have the slideshow?
I do not. Let me give you co-hosting abilities here.
Okay.
I will do that for all the presenters. Also, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to tell me in the chat that you have a question, and we will take those after all three presenters are done.
Okay, you got to give me a minute because I thought you had it. So
Nope.
hold on.
All right, a little technical difficult, everybody. While Gerry's doing that, for those of you that are not chamber members as of yet, we are running a special right now. It is half price, no admin fee for chamber memberships. So you're pretty much getting the month of June for free because we usually don't run this till July. We would love to add more members. If you are a member and you get value and think this chamber is exactly where people need to be, tell somebody about it. Don't keep us a secret. Let them know that this is the place to be in Monmouth County, because the more members we have, that's more people for you to interact with, and the more we can all grow our businesses, because that's what we are here to do. It's to grow our businesses. So please feel free to share that information. Gerry, is your presentation ready, or I need to keep killing some time?
Kill some time for another second or two.
No problem. I can do that. I like to talk, as everybody knows. For those that haven't been around, our percolator breakfast has not missed a step. We were at the All Seasons Diner one Friday. The next Friday, we were virtual here on Zoom. We still get consistently 30 people. If you are not there, you are missing a prime opportunity to network with your peers and let people know what you are doing. This Friday, we have Serve Pro of Howell Wall, who's going to cover reopening your businesses and keeping your place of business safe for your employees and your customers. I highly recommend that you all come, because the speaker is someone who is close to me. I've known him for about 41 years, being that he's my little brother. Also, I happen to be their social media and marketing manager. I take care of anything that you see on social media and blogs. In addition to my full-time job at New York Life, I help my brother out with stuff that I know a little bit more about, and that's social media, since anyone that's friends with me knows that I am quite active on the social media chains, and I'm happy to do it for him. So please join us on Friday to hear about how you can keep your business disinfected and ready to go when New Jersey reopens. Gerry, are you good?
Almost. Let me just go back to the beginning.
There you go.
And go back to the beginning, please. Okay. Let me get rid of that. And sorry, hold on. Slideshow.
While she's getting that done, next Tuesday will be our next webinar series, and the two presenters that day are phenomenal. You are going to love them, because it is the topic of insurance, and the Healy brokerage firm and myself will be presenting next Tuesday at 12. Again, it is absolutely free. Share the link so that we can get more people to learn about what the Healy brokerage firm in New York Life does. Gerry, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Hey, I did it. I got the slideshow on. So I'm Gerry Viggiani. I own Lotus Blossom Psychotherapy in Eatontown. Most therapists right now are doing telehealth. So meaning that all sessions are done from the safety of both of our homes. So, but in the future, I am in Eatontown. All right, so this is a crazy, crazy time we're living in right now. Pretty much unprecedented. Some of my clients have referred to it as living in the twilight zone. And so that's going to have its own host of mental health issues. So I've been seeing a lot of people now that don't normally struggle with their mental health, and they are now, because we just don't have the coping mechanisms to deal with things that are this large or this out of control. So what I've been hearing a lot about is people experiencing fearful symptoms or anxiety. And that might look like feeling anxious or fearful in our minds and in our bodies, spending a lot of time worrying, maybe struggling with sleep at night because you're up worrying about a whole myriad of things, our health, employment, the economy. And that can impact our appetite and our energy level because it's exhausting to be worried like that all the time. It takes up a lot of headspace, so we might be struggling with concentration, having trouble staying focused on one topic without worrying about thinking about all these other things. We might be really irritable and angry and short-tempered, spending a lot of time maybe with our family that we're not used to, and that can also increase a lot of the irritability. And then having physical reactions, apart from not being able to sleep, actually having headaches or body pains or stomach aches or even rashes. So some of my clients are confused too because they're like, is this stress or do I have COVID or some other health condition? Of course, not to be ignored, but it definitely can be a process of how anxiety presents. The other troubling thing we're seeing is people that maybe did not have addiction behaviors before, because they're not able to cope or resorting to things that help kind of numb or take away that intensity of feeling. So seeing an increase in drinking, smoking, drug use, and screen time. We'll talk a little more about that moving forward. So I'm going to focus more on taking care of our minds. My future presenters or other presenters will talk about other aspects. But my recommendations in taking care of our minds is definitely limiting our exposure to news media, particularly in addition now to worrying about what's been happening with the protest. Watching those types of things over and over and over again actually can lead to a secondary trauma. So maybe a trauma isn't happening to me, but because I've been exposed to it over and over and over again, our mind doesn't really know the difference. And so that experience that we have can actually lead us to start experiencing feelings of trauma. And potentially leading to things like post-traumatic stress disorder. So we want to really contain and avoid that. Constantly exposing ourselves to that heightened anxiety is also really not healthy for our minds and our body because we can't rest from it. So my number one recommendation is to limit your exposure. In the past, before we had social media and access to news and things like that, there was an awareness, but we weren't submerged in it. And that's the important thing. So limiting your time and when you do it, preferably not before bed, because that's definitely going to linger into your ability to sleep. Staying busy right now. So some people are not able to go into work, but for all of us, doing things that helped us to distract our minds, but also things that make you feel masterful, connected, and good about yourself are really important during these times, because in this idea that we don't feel in control of what's going on, we want to be able to engage in activities that help us to feel in control, feel good about ourselves. When I talk about distract, though, it's important to realize that there's a difference between distracting when I need to and avoiding. So we need to be mindful that our staying busy doesn't take us away from doing the things that we do actually have to do in addition. So these are distractions in moments, but not things that we're going to be spending entire days doing because we don't want to get to the tasks that we have to do for our livelihoods. The other thing that we can do is change how we feel about the situation. So again, in that idea that we feel disempowered or not in control, is there ways that we can make meaning out of what's happening by maybe doing things that we might not have never had time to do, doing advocacy work. There's a lot of opportunities that are going on out there right now that we could get involved and might help us to feel more empowered. Gratitude is an excellent way to keep our mind on what is. And sorry, I'm admitting people into the room. So if you see me not paying attention for a second, that's what
I got that, Gerry. Don't worry about it.
Thanks. So starting a daily practice of gratitude. So instead of when we wake up in the morning reaching for our phone and looking at social media, taking that moment, a minute or two, to think about things that we are grateful for. The sunny sky, or the warm, snuggly bed that we're laying in, or our health, or the fact that we have a home to live in, are great things to help change the way we feel about the situation. We'll talk a lot about mindfulness in a moment, but actually focusing on what is, but not what might be or what was, because we can't change those things. And the last thing that we can do is to learn how to tolerate distressing or extreme emotions. So when things get really intense, so our emotional experience goes beyond maybe this mild hum of anxiety and starts feeling like it's taking over how we're feeling in the moment, with either maybe panic or rage or these more higher and intense emotions. We can do things to help us to tolerate those emotions or to bring them down into a more reasonable level. So some suggestions that I use with my clients when they're in those states is to actually hold an ice cube. An ice cube is so cold that you can't think anything else but how cold that ice cube is. And what it does is it allows sort of like a break in the intensity, and it allows that to drop down to a more reasonable level. It won't take everything away, but it helps you to tolerate it into as I said, a more reasonable level. We can do jumping jacks if we're physically able to do, or run up and down the stairs, screaming into a pillow, and that concept of sort of expending some of that energy that the intensity that we're feeling. And then I use a lot with my clients something called the stop skill. So actually stopping whatever cycle we're in, either if it's physically or in thought, and taking a breath. So John was alluding to that earlier. There's a number of ways that we can do that, but just simply taking a nice, slow, deep breath and observe what's really happening right now, not just what your perception is of what's happening. And then proceeding mindfully, but maybe by doing some of these other things that I have listed here, or calling someone or asking for help, are great ways to interrupt that intensity. I know I'm kind of rushing through a lot of this, so if you want to just take a moment to digest this page before I move on. But these are, again, great ways that we can start taking care of our minds. Okay, whoops. Okay, so a lot of my clients early on will be like, oh no, you're going to talk about mindfulness and meditation. But mindfulness and meditation they're like superfoods for our mind. And they are a practice. They're a way of, maybe even a way of learning how to think differently. So when we think about mindfulness, the whole practice of mindfulness is really this idea of paying attention to the present moment. What actually is right now in this moment. When we're anxious or depressed, we get kind of lost in what we would call these negative distortions, again, of maybe things I should have done or could have done or would have done differently, or the things that I'm going to do in the future. And that takes us out of this present moment right now and today. And so it's a redirection back to the present. It's a practice in that nobody is ever mindful 100% of the time, right? Nor should we, because there are times that we need to think about things and be creative and set goals and think about the future. But when we're lost in the space of anxiety, that lack of attention to the present is really kind of where we start getting lost in the anxiety. So I have a couple of examples here, but I also always recommend some apps. So on the phone or on the computer, I have a few listed here: Headspace, Insight Timer, Calm, Breathe. Right now, some of these are actually offering free membership to them. Insight Timer is one that I use a lot because its free version has thousands of guided meditations, calming music, drum circles, every different way you could think of as far as meditating, and it's free. You can put in a topic like, I need a meditation to learn how to sleep, or I need a meditation to feel calmer, or I need a meditation to feel more productive. And it teaches you how to meditate, because again, it isn't something that comes naturally. I have two sort of beginner types of meditation that are really effective. And so the first one talks about getting into a quiet space. So you could lay down in bed, or you could sit in a chair, or maybe you even want to lay down on the floor. And making sure that when you're doing that, that you have a straight posture. So I wouldn't get, like if I was laying on the floor, I wouldn't get into like a fetal position. I would want to, have what they call like all your chakras being in a row. So, and have that straight posture. And then it's just working on slowing your breath down. I like 6-8. So breathe in for 6 and breathe out for 8. And then I'm gonna just simply focus on that breath. So if I like the anchor of counting, so again, 6 in, 8 out. And if my mind starts to wander, I just gently bring it back to my breath or to the counting of the breath. And I just do it for a short period of time. It's like running a marathon. You're not gonna start doing this for an hour and expect that you're gonna know how to do it. So 30 seconds, a minute, and then working your way up. And when you're done with that practice, just easing back into your day and noticing and connecting if you feel a shift or a difference. The one on the other side on the right is called square breathing. It's also a breath practice. And basically you're breathing in for a count of 4. So breathing in 1, 2, 3, 4, holding your breath for a count of 4, breathing out for a count of 4, and then holding your breath for a count of 4. Anything that has to do with breath work helps to tell your brain that we're calm, that everything is okay. And if you notice, when you're anxious, you breathe faster and shallower. So we want to connect with that slowing of our breath. feel like I'm racing through this, but I have a lot to cover. And just also in noticing that spiritual practice can also be meditation. So if you are a spiritual person, engaging in prayer is a great way to meditate as well. Now, another part of meditation is the side of mindfulness. So bringing in a non-judgmental practice of being present in the moment. As human beings, we are judgmental beings. We judge things we like, we judge things that we don't like. And for some people, that starts to get into this murky area where when we feel judged or we're judging other people, that impacts our mood. And sometimes in a negative way. So if I don't like maybe something that my husband says to me, and I don't look to explore what he says to me, but I immediately jump to judgment, I'm going to get angry, right? And without having that conversation about that or being mindful about what it actually meant, that's going to impact my mood. So looking to also bring in this practice of paying attention to what actually is. So I have some suggestions on here. One way to practice it is just being mindful about what I'm drinking and eating. So instead of sort of shoveling things in, that I'm actually paying attention to the temperature, the taste, the texture, and I can practice doing that. I remember going to a mindfulness training one time, and they gave everybody one M&M. And they told us that we were not allowed to chew the M&M and that it had to last 10 minutes on our tongue. It was a very interesting experience. I have discovered I don't like the taste of M&Ms because I was so used to just kind of like, you know, shoveling them in and not tasting them. But it's a nice way to practice mindfulness and enjoying the pleasure of what we're eating and drinking. We can go on a mindful walk. So there's walk for exercise, but mindful walk would look more of like noticing your surroundings through all your senses. Mindful listening, so we can listen to the sound, quality, and content of just listening. We could listen to something like music, or we could just listen to what are the sounds around us and pay attention to that. We can listen to our body and bring attention to all our body parts. And we can even take that farther and practice relaxing those body parts. We can actually take the practice of observing and describing one step further and taking a moment in time and just using facts to observe and describe. So I can notice that the writing on this PowerPoint is white and there's some black writing, and that the boxes are green, and that they're in the shape of a rectangle. Just using facts. So if we're not using our senses to describe something, then that moves into perception. And this is a practice of just focusing on what is. And we can do that with our thoughts as well. So just observing them coming in and observing them going out, but without attaching any meaning. So again, this is like practicing running a marathon. I have to start by walking to the end of my driveway, and then walking to the end of my street, and then walking for, you know, a mile, and then starting to ramp that up as I build up stamina. All in the purpose of being able to attend to how and when and what we think about things. So when I talked about trauma before, trauma is this, without going into a long-winded explanation, is really the perception that we're in danger, even if we're not in danger. So we actually need to teach or tell our brains that we're not in danger. And grounding techniques kind of ground us into the moment right now. And we can use these grounding techniques when we're anxious as well. So I'm not going to go through every single one of these, but in noting that we can ground our body by doing things that physically ground us, by sensing maybe our feet are on the floor. We can use our senses, like I talked about earlier, so I can attend to things that I feel, I can attend to things that I see, I can attend to things that I hear. I can soothe myself in whatever ways. So as children, we learn how to soothe ourselves, and then we forget that as adults, we need to do that still. You know, putting on nice smelling hand lotion or a candle with a beautiful scent, listening to calming music. I described observe earlier, I've described breath earlier, and then I talked about distracting earlier, and we can do things to help distract that are concrete and help our brain attach to this idea that we're present in the here and now. And then just the last piece here is, you know, taking to heart what I talked about today. And oftentimes that's just a little bit that you need to kind of help you on your way of coping and dealing with these extra circumstances that are going now. But it's not to make light of the fact that for a lot of people, that's not enough. And so there are some suggestions here about if you or someone you know needs more. And what that would look like would really be that I'm really having trouble staying, you know, present in my day, that I'm spending most of my day worried and anxious or really depressed. I can't get up and do things that I might normally have been able to do. Or even taking it a step farther, I have an urge to hurt myself, or I'm always rageful or angry, or I haven't slept in days. And I have been seeing a lot of that happening right now, and there's no shame in getting extra help. So you can certainly call or use social media to contact a trusted and close friend and talk about how hard your feelings are. You can call your spiritual leaders. If you feel like you need maybe some therapy on top of that, you can reach out to your employee assistance program if your company has that benefit. Or you can ask your primary care provider. They often have a list of referrals for people who can help. And then in finding a mental health professional, if you decide you need therapy, there's organizations like NAMI and SAMHSA, the Mental Health Association, that often have referral networks. Or you can look on a Google search or whatever you use to search and look at Psychology Today. They have actually pictures and bios of therapists. The same for Good Therapy. You can Google, or you can reach out to your insurance company if you need somebody that's in network. Of course, if you're suicidal and you have this urge to hurt yourself and it's strong, don't hesitate to call 911 or to go to the nearest ER. It's safe there. They have most oftentimes that section of the ER is separate, or you can call the suicide hotline, and I have the number there. If you are feeling shy about that, or you really, really need help, again, I'll put my contact information in the chat box. Certainly, if you're not comfortable with talking to me, I can help you to find somebody else to talk to. But there's no reason to be shy about doing this. Everybody needs a little help sometimes, and I hope that you can find some helpful information here. All right, Tamer.
Thank you, Gerry. That was fantastic. Next up is John. John, the floor is yours.
We can't hear you, John. Can't hear you.
You got me so relaxed, I
There you
forgot
go.
my entire presentation. I don't even know where I am anymore.
John, do you need me to change the pages or?
Oh. What? I can't, I'm so relaxed. I was breathing and doing, I'm just kidding with you. You know what, could you? That would be great. Do you mind, Gerry?
Just kind of do this, like turn the page and I'll do it. And I'm
yeah,
gonna mute
no, if you
myself.
could, thank you. I appreciate that. Lotus Blossom Psychotherapy, not just kidding with you. Yeah, I want to say good morning or good afternoon to everyone. Thanks for joining us. Now, Gerry and Chantea, thanks for doing this with me. I'm touching on the food aspect of it, but what Gerry, honestly, I'm just joking around, but what she just hit on is very important. And it also applies to food, the M&M, like being mindful has a lot to do with weight loss and actually literally slowing down and breathing and thinking about what you're doing. And I always say using your teeth and actually chewing your food 20 to 30 times, you'll realize you're giving your brain a chance to catch up and realize what's going on. And that has a lot to do with weight loss, a lot. So the mindfulness part of it. I'm John Levine. I'm a certified health coach. I'm a weight loss expert. I help people lose weight and live happier through food. Food is medicine. It's the best medicine. It always has been. It always will be. And I don't believe it's ever going to change. We just have to use it the right way. So this guy, does anyone know who this guy is? Let's see who. Anyone? No, not you, Frank. I know you know. Does anyone else know who this is?
Socrates.
Socrates?
You got it. I was going to say it was my grandfather on my mother's side, but that's a joke. It's Hippocrates.
Oh, Hippocrates.
Yeah, Hippocrates was a Greek physician all the way back in 370 BC. And all the way back then, they knew this. He knew this. He's the father of medicine, right? Let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. It's proof that used correctly, it's the best tool. It's the best tool for weight loss. It's the best tool for anxiety. It's the best tool for lowering your cholesterol, for high blood pressure, for headaches, for back pain, you name it, used the right way. And I will say one other thing that I kind of vent about a little bit, getting into uncharted territory, but every doctor that comes out of medical school has to put their hand up and they have to make an oath. They have to make a Hippocratic oath because the father of medicine he's Hippocrates. So they're following that guy, right? And it's just, I would say, very ironic that most, it's nothing against doctors, but the system that we're in now follows more of a disease management system. And we don't use food as medicine. So we actually are hypocritical with how we treat disease. We don't treat it the right way because it's right here with food. Okay, next. And there's lots of studies out there. And this is one study that I picked out. This was done by the National Institute of Health. And what they did here is they compared someone on an unprocessed diet, just eating real foods, compared to someone who was on an ultra-processed diet, processed fast foods, that type of stuff. And if you see down here below where it says body weight, I don't know how many people are on the diet, but you see the one person, the blue, ate nothing but processed foods, and you see where that line goes up. The line goes up. It clearly goes up, and they gained weight. And they gained a lot of other things as well. It's not just weight. There's a lot of different chronic health issues that go along with processed food. And then the red line going below is someone who is just eating real food, just nature's food that's designed to be in our body, and you see the weight goes down. And I will say this, it's easier said than done. I understand that most people realize that real food is the best way to go. But knowing it and doing it are really two different things. And there's a lot, and it's also using the right foods at the right time for the right reasons. And it gets a little bit more complicated, but it's not just, you know, food, it's when you use the food. You know, like people get kind of crazy with like the keto diet and are carbs good or carbs bad? Well, it depends when you use those foods. Or, you know, a banana is great. Like bananas are fantastic, either before or after you work out for energy. But if you had a banana, you know, right before bed, that would not be the right time to use a banana. So it depends when you're using these foods. And there are a lot of great foods out there. Some foods, not all foods are created equal. I've taken the top 10 superfoods that I consider the best of the best. There's more, but these are absolutely foods that they should be in your diet. We'll start with salmon. Salmon, and you want salmon to be wild. Salmon need to be salmon. They need to swim in the ocean, being salmon, doing what salmon do, eating what they're supposed to eat, smaller fish, and stress-free. The flip side of it, if you think about it, you know, like the organic or the wild, if you're eating a farm-raised salmon, you're eating a salmon that is in a tank with many other salmon, stressed out beyond belief, eating cornmeal and God knows what else that they're not designed to eat. And then they're going to the bathroom. I hate to be disgusting, but they're going to the bathroom in their own tank and they're swimming in their own feces, and it's terrible. And really the same thing goes for many other animals. So you are what you eat, what they eat, right? So think about that. You are what you eat, what they eat. So if they're eating that stuff, the cornmeal, and they're swimming in their own feces and they're stressed out beyond belief, you're taking that stress in. It's becoming you. So you absolutely, you know, it's going to be a little bit more money for a while, but it's absolutely worth it. You don't want to eat salmon with 3 testicles. Sorry, it's just. And then they're very high in omega-3s. Incredible for your brain. It's a great source of protein. Having salmon, you know, you don't want to eat salmon every day, all the time, but salmon at dinner with dark leafy greens is a great choice, and it helps you feel more full. Selenium is a mineral, a great mineral. It's high in selenium, so salmon absolutely superfood, no question. Almonds, same thing. So raw, you got to be a little bit careful with almonds because. And I have clients that I tell them almonds, and now I remember to tell them raw almonds because they'll go get some almonds and there's sugar in the almonds and there's like extra salt. And when you see some of these things, people put a lot of ingredients in there. And then that's when the calories start to add up, all the added sugars. And really not just with almonds, but with anything. When you start adding all of these things to it, that's when you get yourself in trouble. So almonds just need to be almonds, raw almonds. And if you eat raw almonds mindfully, they actually taste really good. And that's what I also want to say about a lot of these foods is because some people are like, oh, I'll eat foods, and I've had people come by and say, oh man, that looks a little too healthy. And what I tell my clients and what I tell people is, you know, when you actually incorporate real food and you get rid of the junk food and you actually slow down, it is amazing how good it tastes. I mean, really, this stuff tastes great once your brain is able to recognize what's going on and process that, all right, it's not tricking me. This is actually supposed to be in my body. So raw almonds. It's great for blood sugar control. Almonds reduce hunger. It's a great source of protein. It's excellent for a snack. Everyone is a little bit different with when they eat. Sometimes I get hungry and I will go right for the almonds. I'll have anywhere from 6 to 10 almonds, sometimes more, depending if I'm hungry. And it's great. It gets me to the next meal. Blackberries. All berries are great. Blackberries in particular have loads of fiber. Out of all the fruit, they are one of the highest in antioxidants. They're also nutrient dense. And when I say nutrient dense really means the amount of nutrients in a food compared to the calories. So it's pound for pound, you're getting your biggest bang for your buck with blackberries and blueberries, strawberries, raspberries. They're all a little bit different, but they're so nutrient dense that you're getting your biggest bang for your buck. They're just loaded, right? Pound for pound, right? Like pound for pound, they're a superfood, and they're easy. I realize that right now, for the last 2.5, 3 months, or however long it's been maybe been a little bit easier, but usually, everyone's on the go, and they don't have these foods. I tell my clients, blackberries can be easy. Wash them. You can even put them in your car if you're on the road. Have them on your desk, and they're you don't have to cook them. You don't have to go nuts. You can put them in a smoothie. They're very fairly easy to eat. Organic, of course. Everything should be organic. Blackberries. Onions are great. So onions are a prebiotic, and a prebiotic is not a probiotic. It's basically, they have compounds that the good bacteria in your gut feed on. So once the onion goes into your belly, the good bacteria love eating these compounds, and they just can't get enough of it. And then they reproduce, and they reproduce more of the good guys. So they're giving you more of the good guys. Prebiotic. Probiotic, it's already living. Prebiotic, it's not living yet. It's the good bacteria feeding on these onions. Cancer-fighting compounds, antibacterial, anti-inflammatory, onions. Kale. Kale has gotten so popular. Kale it's good. Kale is really good. It's high in vitamin K, which is great for your blood, reduces blood clotting. The thing about kale, along with other dark leafy greens, you can add in spinach, arugula. They're all up there. I picked out kale. They're so low in calorie. They're loaded with fiber, and they're so low on calories. Good luck. You cannot eat kale and gain weight. Good luck. There's no chance in hell. I mean, good luck doing that. So all the fiber, especially eating slowly, all the fiber will help fill you up, and you just won't be able to eat anymore. We can't digest fiber. So again, the good bacteria get the fiber, and they eat it up, and it helps you feel more full. And they're high, again, not just vitamin K, other vitamins and minerals. Kale, way up there. But don't forget spinach and arugula and all the dark leafy greens. They're fantastic. Coconut oil, another popular one these days. Lauric acid. Lauric acid is found in coconut oil and has many benefits. Great for your brain fuel. Oil pulling. I don't know how many people know what oil pulling is. Oil pulling is you take the coconut oil and you put it in your mouth. And this goes back thousands and thousands of years, and it gets a little bit lost. And you swish it around in your mouth anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes. And it takes some time, but oil pulling pulls the toxins out of your mouth. And man, does it work. If you are congested, if you have any sort of like headache, tooth pain, which I have had, and I used oil pulling, I've probably been doing it for about 10 years now. It pulls it right out. I mean, I feel so much better. Oil pulling it's fantastic. Give it a try. Definitely give it a try. Chicken, organic. Same thing with the salmon being wild. Same thing with the almonds being raw. When we just let things be, just leave it alone. Let a chicken be a chicken. Let it run wild. Let it not be so stressed out. That's, humanely raised. And I am an animal lover. And quite frankly, sometimes I eat chicken and I say to myself, oh man, I kind of feel bad. But chicken has 9 all essential amino acids. Chicken is very good for you. It's a great protein source. It builds your muscles. Even though I love chickens and all animals, and that's a little bit of a sore spot for me. I was actually vegan for like 8 years. I do feel that chicken is essential and should be part of anyone's diet. Okay, I can't see what's next because I'm blocking my own screen here. Sorry. Garlic. Garlic actually has many uses. It's great for earaches. I actually gave it to my kids instead of the other harsh drugs for their earaches. And it works. It works. It is absolutely, I just shake my head because it is absolutely amazing what is found on this earth, what grows on this earth, and actually what works for So many different things. It really is right there at our disposal. We just have to kind of get out of our own way and use it. It's great for earaches. You can get these garlic drops, put them in the ears, and it works. Treats colds, great for the immune system. Garlic is fantastic. And put it in the Italian dishes. Gilda probably uses garlic, I'm assuming. Frank, get garlic in there. Tastes great. Mushrooms, there's so many different types of mushrooms. What do mushrooms do? They speed up your metabolism. They're high in zinc. They lower cholesterol. Mushrooms are fantastic. Again, get them in there any way, shape, or form. They can be raw. They can be cooked. Have fun with this stuff. Have fun with this stuff. And the other thing I'll say with these foods, use this time to cook, right? We're all home to a certain extent. Experiment with these foods in the cooking. And I'm not, like, my wife cooks, I'm not the biggest cook, but like, check out different mushrooms, all the different types of mushrooms out there, and get them in and have fun with it. Make this stuff fun. It's when things, get to be like a math worksheet, that's when things get painful. And I tell people, when it comes to weight loss, you gotta have a little bit of fun, and you gotta cheat a little bit. Anyone that's just stressed out and thinking about, losing weight, and they're constant in this stress, and I don't need help, that's usually stuff to go about. And that's why diets fail, because they're so restrictive and they're so stressful. It's that when you eat these real foods slowly, over time, your body adjusts, and you end up on the right track. Dark chocolate, I know everyone's gonna love this. Dark chocolate is healthy. It's very healthy. And they're cacao beans. Cacao beans are what's in dark chocolate, high in magnesium, comes from nature. What does this do? It reduces stress. Magnesium reduces stress. It increases libido, which is always good. And the one key with dark chocolate that I would say is the higher percentage of dark chocolate, the better. So if you see a dark chocolate bar that says 80%, it means that 80% of the dark chocolate is really the cacao bean. 20% of it would be other things, more like probably added sugars. So for the real health benefits, the higher the percentage dark chocolate, the better. But it doesn't mean you can't eat the dark chocolate, right? Like that, don't get so stressed out to the point where you're looking at the dark chocolate and you're like, that's got to be 80%. Oh my God, it's only 50%. That's not good. That's where things go wrong. It's all right. Eat the dark chocolate. No big deal. All right. Next. Thank you, Gerry, for doing this. I appreciate that. And this, a lot of this stuff overlaps, what I do, and Gerry and Chantea. Health is a lot of things. Again, I did hit upon the food aspect. Food is medicine. It's the best medicine. It always will be. But health is a lot of things. It really is. It's home environment. It's working out. It's moving your body. It's reducing anxiety. And I love this. I love this about what the Dalai Lama said. Man sacrifices his health in order to make money. Then he sacrifices money to recuperate his health. And then he is so anxious about the future that he does not enjoy the present. The result being that he does not live in the present or the future. He lives as if he is never going to die, and then he dies having never really lived. Dalai Lama. I love that, because even for myself, and I'm in this field, I even need reminders sometimes to take a step back and be grateful, right? Be grateful for what I have, not what I don't have. Grateful for what I have. My family, grateful for the food that's on my plate. And I'm trying to put the positive, because and Gerry will tell you this, but our brains are wired for negative. I don't know why, but they are just wired for the negative. So we like the negative, we feed off the negative, but looking at the media and all that stuff, it goes in the wrong direction. So all of the things that she's telling you to do and that I'm telling you to do, it's important, because, at the end of the day, and it's one of the reasons why I feel so strongly about being in this field. And for those who don't know, and I'll give you a little you know, I was actually in pharmaceutical sales, and I was selling high blood pressure medication, and it was a great job, right? I had a car, and I was single. I was in West Palm Beach, Florida. I had 131 doctors. I mean, it was good, man. It was good. My father, though, was diagnosed with a rare form of brain cancer back home in New Jersey. He was also diagnosed with Parkinson's, and I would fly back home all the time to see him. And I just didn't like what I was seeing with what I consider disease management. I didn't like how people were being treated. I didn't like how we were not using food for our health, and how we were not taught to breathe. You know, no one was saying, you know, hey, slow down, meditate. No one was taking the time to get to know you, to teach you what I consider, you know, the right information, and the right information, which is what we're telling you right now, which I believe strongly is so important. And that's really it. And, you know, I love working with my clients and getting to know everyone. It's not a cookie cutter approach, guys. Everyone's different. Some people do well on keto. Some people don't. Some people do well eating 5 times a day. Some people do well eating 2 times a day. There really is no magic pill. There's many ways up to the top of the mountain, and I enjoy helping my clients find out what works for them. And if anyone ever has any questions, you know, after this or after, you know, later or next week or next month, I'm happy to help out no matter what. So that's pretty much it. And yeah, so if you feel like, and I brought this guy out, I like my props. So if the Cookie Monster gets a hold of you, okay, I'm here to help.
Thanks, John. That was fantastic. If anyone does get the urge for cookies, Quest Protein makes a great one, and they're guilt-free and only 4 net carbs for people that are living the keto way like I do. Again, John, thank you so much. That was very informative. Our last speaker is Chantea. And please, if you have any questions, just put them in the chat box and we will call on each of you individually. I do see that a bunch of people have had to go. If you do have to leave, do not worry. This whole presentation will be posted on both chamber Facebook pages so that you can refer to them after. Chantea, the floor is yours.
Chantea, do you need me to do the thing?
No, I have
Good.
ready to go.
Great.
So if you unshare yours, I will share mine. Okay. Again. Okay, so as my former presenters have already mentioned, the mental aspect of self-care and the nutritional aspect of self-care. Well, I touch on both of those. I have a master's in psychology as well as a corrective exercise specialist, and almost completed my PhD in psychophysiology, which is the study of how the brain and the body work together. So this is a great topic for all of us to be collaborating on today. So fitness is self-care. What basically we're going to do is, it's not easy to exercise. People come up with excuses all the time of what they can and cannot do. So some of the benefits are going to help you control weight. It's going to reduce your risk of heart disease, help manage the blood sugar and insulin levels. So it's very important for those with diabetes, and help you quit smoking. It's going to improve your mental health and your mood. Exercising is a great outlet for highly stressful situations. It's going to help you keep thinking, learning, and using your judgment skills as we age. It's going to help keep them sharper, strengthen your bones, muscles, improve coordination, reduce your risk of cancers. One of the biggest things I work on with my clients is helping to improve sleep, and it will improve your sexual health as well. So for us that are not used to working out, creating a regular routine is something that's going to help you throughout your workout habits. No matter if you're a beginner, no matter if you're advanced, no matter if you're training for something specific, consistency is key. So you want to be able to make everyday activities more active. If you're going to the grocery store, make multiple trips. If you're doing laundry, go up and down the stairs. You know, you can engage yourself more in your regular activities just by being mindful about it. You know, don't be lazy when, you know, just reach. You know, if you are sitting for too long, get up and walk around for 5 minutes. You can set timers on your phone. You can have apps on your computer just to remind you to get up and be more active. Right now, it's a great time to be active with friends and family. I have clients that I work with remotely that are doing virtual dance parties with their friends. So you can engage and you can actually, you know, work out with a partner, even if they're not here. If it was your, you know, former workout buddy at the gym, you guys can do things together, you know, virtually now. But the biggest thing is to keep track of your progress. So if you have a specific goal, and I am a huge fan of SMART goals, if you don't know what they are, it stands for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-based. So you want to be able to create a goal that is not just general. If you say, I want to lose 10 pounds, great. How are you going to do it? When do you want to do it? By what action steps are you going to take to get you to lose those 10 pounds? I want to work out. What time of day do you want to work out? You know, what exercises can you do? What don't you like to do? What limitations do you have? The more specific you can get in creating a routine, the easier it is for you to maintain that routine. So make it fun. Engage the kids. I do it all the time with mine. We have squat parties. We have push-up parties. You know, who can do a plank the longest? You know, make it fun. Exercise doesn't have to be, you know, excruciating. It may not be the most enjoyable thing, and we avoid it because, ouch, pain, I can't walk the next day. Well, it just means you did too much that day. And there's a great way that you can increase your endurance, increase your strength training. And it really just starts one step at a time. You know, I didn't work out for multiple years after the last baby. I started 5 minutes a day in the play area and, you know, worked up to doing fitness competitions. So it's possible for anyone to go at any level of fitness to elevate that level of fitness for all those wonderful health benefits. So, and then there's a lot of things that we can do inside. Today I'm traveling, I'm in Texas. I had to come out here for a funeral. So I don't have a gym, and I did squats, push-ups, and sit-ups, and I took a walk for an hour. You know, you don't need a big gym. You don't need a lot of equipment to be fit and healthy. You know, use what you have, do what you can, and go from there. It's psychophysiology, the study of the brain and the body, and I love the way that it all works together, but exercising has amazing benefits for the brain. So it's going to increase your BDFN. I won't go into detail on your brain-derived neurotropic factors here, but it's the cell regeneration in your head. So it's everything that you need to do to constantly get those new cells going. It flushes out the old, in with the new. Your brain is constantly adapting. It increases your production of serotonin. So we have all these feel-good hormones, norepinephrine, your dopamine levels. These are what's going to make you have that burst. So you get that exercise high, you get those runners high, you feel good because your body likes to move. It does not like to sit still. You're going to reduce your cortisol levels. So as John was talking about, you know, people can stress out over eating too much, and you increase those cortisol levels. Well, you're not going to lose weight as quickly as you could. So exercising is a great way to reduce your cortisol levels, going to balance out your hormones, balance out your mood, so that by doing everything combined with your mental exercises, your mindfulness, your eating right, now you're exercising, you get a perfect trifecta for success. So if you're super highly stressed, and as Gerry was saying, you know, you just need an outlet, go run. You know, you're going to get that dump of all that stuff that's built up for you, and you're going to be able to just think clearer, get out of your sympathetic fight and flight state, go into your parasympathetic, your rest and digest, let that oxygen get to your brain, and let yourself focus and perform even better. You're going to improve your memory. So this is really important as we age and as being bombarded the way that we are. Memory can go. You know, what did I do yesterday? I don't know. Where did I put this? I don't know. Because we're running 1,000,000 miles an hour. You know, where's my kid's soccer shoes? I don't know. You know, so creating the time to exercise will improve your memory so that these little things that might slip away won't slip away as easily. And research does show that it does help to prevent Alzheimer's and dementia. So those are really big factors. And it's something that you can start at any given point in time. So the recommendations for me, to you, as you want to aim for at least a minimum of 5 minutes a day. If you haven't done anything in the past, 5 minutes is a great way to start, just like learning a breathing exercise. You're not going to be running marathons the first time you step into your sneakers. So take it slow, you know, build up. What can you do for 5 minutes? If you do 5 sit-ups, you do 5 sit-ups. That's awesome. Find a starting point, keep track of what you're doing, and modify and escalate as you continue. So you can work up to doing 30 minutes to 60 minutes of exercise per day. Depending on your motivations, heart rate comes into play. So that is something that we can talk about in person. You can email me, you know, things like that nature. What would be the best, you know, heart rate to keep it at? Well, are you doing cardio? Are you doing strength training? It really does vary. So I can't just give a cookie cutter number, just like John was saying, nutrition's not cookie cutter. Exercise isn't either. It does body type, your physical limitations and things like that. The biggest thing is that you want to be consistent at the workout time that you can do every single day. So if it's first thing in the morning, you get up at 5 a.m., you want to go take a walk for 30 minutes, get your day going, great. Morning workouts do help give you that extra energy that you might need to continue on through the day. Some people prefer that midday workout. You know, I've been sitting at my desk, I've been on the computer, I just need to move. That's great. Some people like to do it at the end of the day. Helps wind everything down. And then at night, you just want to be careful not to work out too closely to bed because it'll wire your brain and it's going to interfere with your sleeping habits. Make sure to change your routine every 4 to 6 weeks. We hit that plateau and then nothing changes anymore. That is something a lot of people make the mistake of doing, saying, well, I exercise every day. Okay, well, if you've seen people at the gym that are doing the same thing they were 2 years ago and they look the same, that's why they haven't changed what they're doing. The body gets stagnant, the brain gets stagnant, and it quits responding. Your muscles adapt, and if they're adapted to what you're doing, you're not going to enhance them any further. And like I said, don't work out too closely to bedtime, and please ensure that you're drinking plenty of water, especially the weather's getting nicer. It's going to get warmer. If you're outside doing anything, the last thing you want is dehydration and getting muscle fatigue, cramps, and things of that nature. So take it easy with that. The top home exercises, like I said, I made some adaptations for this while I was here. Push-ups, sit-ups. You can do modified push-ups against a wall. You can do sit-ups or crunches, squats, simple body weight squats up and down. If you have a big stability ball, you have imbalances, you can put the ball against the wall and you can do squats that way. If it's only a quarter squat, you can only go down a little bit and back up. That is much better than forcing your body to do something it's not ready to do. That leads to more injuries, and then you're going to get discouraged, and then you're not going to continue building up your workout habits. Planks, excellent exercises for you to do. Once again, start small. If it's 10 seconds and you feel your body shaking, that's okay. Work up to 30 seconds and then a minute, and then you can do side planks, you can do reverse planks. You can mix it up, have fun with it. Like I said, the kids and I, we love doing plank challenges. It's just, you know, it's a way to involve everybody. You can do walking lunges. If you want to get more advanced, get into your burpees, your jumping jacks, crunches, calf raises, find a stair, you know, go up and down, do your calf raises, do little bridges, you know, lay on your back, you lift your butt, and then, you know, you can help strengthen all your core stabilizing muscles. So the stronger that your core is, the better that you are to reduce your risks of injuries moving forward with other exercises that you may start compounding with. I could talk exercise all day, but I won't because I know we have other things to do. And if you want a specific program, if you have any questions about the benefits of exercising and what it can do for your brain and your you can go to our website, you can call us at the office. We are still open, we never close, so if you want to come into Functionised and we do private sessions, you're more than welcome, as well as any other, you know, medical advice. We do IV therapies, so boosting immune system. So that's one of the best reasons, for self-care is to exercise for, boosting that immune system. So we all want to be healthier, we want to be happier, we want to perform better, and it's a great way to do so. So any questions, feel free to contact me.
Great, thank you so much, Chantea. All right, the floor is now open for questions. I see a couple in the chat. I will call on you in order. Just unmute yourself and ask your questions. Marcia, you are first. Feel free to unmute and ask your question.
Yes, I had a question for John. With organic, there's been stuff, they've done studies and they've tested foods at various markets, and they've said that the food that they say that's organic really isn't. Have you heard anything about that, or, can you comment about that? How do you know that what you're getting is truly organic? And of course, the price, I think in some stuff with organic, it is a little higher too.
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, great question. No, there's no question that people will skirt around it and not do the right thing. And there's no question that some things that say they're organic are not necessarily organic. And even to further your point, USDA organic still does allow some chemicals that are not harmful, but still does allow some chemicals and allow you to still call it USD organic. There's a new label that's called, I think it's called regenerative organic, which is like truly organic. But my advice would be is to use a trusted source. So to get around that there's two ways to go about it. One, have your own garden, which not everyone is able to do because garden's a lot of work. And I have one now, and my God, there's so many weeds, it's unbelievable. But the one thing is I know what's going on there, right? I know I don't use chemicals, but there's local farmers. So I would say you establish relationships with local farmers. Me and my wife, we shop at Dean's Market, and I'm not promoting them. I mean, he's a friend of mine, but I know how much he cares, and I know he's pretty anal about having anyone in there unless you are like the cream of the crop. He's not putting it on his shelf. So I personally feel strongly that I know if it's at Dean's, he's vetted it and it's a reliable source. And then local farmers, right? Local farmers that really care, and you get to know them just like anyone, right? You actually get to know someone. You're like, all right, this guy is doing the right thing. I know he doesn't use, glyphosate and all that other stuff. That's the way the way around it. But just like anything, people will try to skirt around the rules. You do have to be careful. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I see that Frank has a question for Gerry. Frank, go ahead and unmute. Ask Gerry your question.
Yeah, Gerry, two things. One, are there signs that someone should be aware of if they think they don't have a lot of anxiety, where they may think, oh, I'm not stressed out, but maybe they're more stressed than they think? Are there things that people should be aware of that might be indicators of that?
Yeah, I think that one of the most important indicators of being stressed out is your thought process. So if you find you're kind of on that hamster wheel, or you really are struggling with shifting your attention to focus on other things. So if I were worried about getting COVID, right? And I'm finding that I'm not paying attention to conversations because I'm thinking about, how I'm going to avoid getting sick from this person, or I'm thinking about how yesterday I shouldn't have shook somebody's hand, or, so you're getting kind of like these repetitive thoughts that you're struggling with getting away from. And then also that physical connection. So that constant feeling of feeling tense, having that inability to relax. Sleep too. If sleep is something that's really eluding you and you don't have a biological reason for that, like maybe you snore or something like that, but you're finding that you're up all night thinking about the project you're working on, or that you're worried that your kid's doing things that they shouldn't be doing. So that inattention to being able to like be present is a really big indicator, and it comes out in physical ways. And avoidance. I find avoidance is a big one. So the more anxious someone gets, the more that they want to avoid doing the thing that's making them anxious. So trouble getting things done, trouble concentrating, trouble completing things, and because you're avoiding, I think are a lot of signs that something's up. That's the anxious side. The depressive side would be more like, I can't get out of bed, I can't get tasks done because I just have no motivation, I feel sad, I'm crying a lot, I have really negative self-thoughts about myself. That's more the depressive side.
Thank you. And then my second question was, are there any books that are non-clinical that you found personally useful or interesting to read?
Oh gosh, there's so many. I think it's like off the top of my head, it's like overwhelming because there's a lot out there. I find like there's a lot of like super user-friendly like guides, like almost like Anxiety for Dummies or things like that, that actually like spell out skills that you can do. Anything that has to do with cognitive behavioral therapy, so like CBT for the anxious mind, will give you like step-by-step kind of activities or exercises, easy things that you can do to kind of reframe what you're doing or thinking. And then the last, anything that has to do with like mindfulness and being present. So daily exercises for mindfulness, I think are great things. So specifically, I can't think off of the top of my head a particular one, but you could go to Barnes and Nobles and there's a lot of really user-friendly, non-clinical things out there to help with those particular types of things.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Does anybody else have any questions for any one of our presenters? And also just
I have a quick question for John. It's Ehab. How are you?
Hey, Ehab. Good to see you.
I'm allergic to nuts, but I do, and you know, I when I was younger, I wasn't as allergic to peanuts. Now the allergy grew. What about things like soy nuts and seeds, pumpkin seeds, things like that? Is there one that's better than the other? I wish I could munch on almonds all day long, but I can't.
Yeah.
What's the alternative?
Sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds are fantastic choices. Soy, man, I tell you what, we have, you know, I would probably stay away from soy. I hate to say that, but like there's certain things like I would call the troublemakers: soy, gluten, dairy, and corn. Those four pretty much, and I'm going to go back to the nature part of it. You know, we have genetically modified and sprayed so many crops that we have pretty much ruined them. And those four are the troublemakers that I would. So to me, it's like, it's not worth eating soy. The benefits are not there. So soy, corn,
what about
dairy? Sorry, go on.
No, sorry, I interrupted you. What about milk? Coconut milk? I can't do almond milk or any of the others. Coconut milk?
Right. Yeah, coconut. And it comes from the coconut. As long, coconut milk is fantastic. I don't. The only thing I would look out for is just the added sugars, right? So like we even get, they're so tricky, like these labels, they even trick me, and I know exactly what I'm doing, and they even get me sometimes. We have almond milk, and I know you can't, but you'll see, like they'll sneak anything they can in there. It's amazing. And I'm like, we've got almond milk, and there's like, it says like, there's a green one, there's a blue one, and then there's like an orange one. And one's like, they snuck in some extra cane sugar. And I'm like, you bastards.
Yeah.
And it's, you just got to be a little careful, because you just don't, if they can get it in there, man, they will get it in there.
That's
But
true.
coconut milk's great. I mean, coconut is so good for you. Anything coconut, I'm a huge fan of.
My kids don't like it. They take it and put honey and they load it with sugar. And...
Yeah, of course. You know, they're kids. But you know what? Like, here's the thing, and I'll say this to, like Chantea touched on this. If you make it fun, kids will eat it. So, like, anything that you make fun or make a game, the kids will eat it. So, like, we had cucumbers, and like, if I just put cucumbers or on the plate with hummus, the kids are gonna be like, "Oh, get out of town!" Like any kid, like who wants to eat that? Forget it.
Of course.
But I made like this cucumber, Leaning Tower of Pisa cucumbers.
Right.
So I cut them all up, and I had literally like 3 of them for all 3 of my kids. And I said, all right, look, the hummus is in the middle. I said, if you can take off each one of the cucumbers and get down to the bottom without the tower falling,
I like that.
You win. And the hummus is in the middle. So it became a game, right? So
like
they
that.
all
That's
ate the
very cool.
cucumbers because, like, look, my kids are so competitive with each other. It's like,
Sure.
here's tower, like, you made it a game, and I feel like I've won. Like, all right, they ate the cucumbers. We won, right? So yeah, make it a game. Like, even with the coconut milk, you know, I don't know. Like, if there's a will, there's a way to just
Sure.
Yeah, just throw some sort of game, right? Just be clever about
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any questions?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
I'd like to know, does having, coconut oil, coconut milk, does that raise your triglycerides?
Because I can't hear.
The coconut milk or the coconut oil raise triglycerides?
You know, I think if you do anything in excess, it would not be good. If you have coconut in moderation, just like anything, you should be totally fine. I don't know if it would raise your triglycerides, but let's put it this way. If you drank too much water, it would flood your kidneys. It would flood your organs. You know, if you eat too much of anything, it could go the wrong way. So yeah, I just think in moderation, you should be totally fine.
Before we hang up, if anybody has a topic they would like to present as a lunch and learn, my contact information is in the chat box. Feel free to reach out to me or Frank, and we will talk to you about getting you on the schedule. Also, I know that we are looking for perk speakers. If you would like to speak at the Friday perk, reach out to me or Al, and we will get you on the schedule. You do have to be a chamber member to speak at the perks. So reach out to either me or Al or me and Frank to get on the schedule to present your topic. Jill, I saw you had your hand raised. You have a question?
I just wanted to mention to John with the cucumbers, get the kids to participate with you. What you can do is peel the cucumber and run a fork all the way around and slice it that way. And you can tell them that it's like putting flowers in the dip, because it looks like a daisy.
Oh,
That's a fun thing to do. And something else nobody brought up, and it's not a criticism. Stay away from fat-free stuff because they put something in it to give it taste. And I was advised by somebody who's a nutritionist. She has the degree and the license in nutritioning. And she told me to stay away from fat-free because the fat that you're getting from milk or from yogurt is good for the brain, it's good for you, and it makes you feel full because the fat-free has no taste, and when you finish eating or consuming it, you're ready to eat more, and you have a tendency to overeat that way. And we found that works for us.
Good.
Include that in your next presentation. Or you
got it.
If you wanted to. I mean, it's up to you.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
That is fuel, right, John?
It absolutely is, yes. Look, their marketing tricks, their marketing tricks, like this is, Diet Coke, fat-free, carb-free, they're allowed, the food industry is allowed to get away with a lot, actually, which it's tricky. So you don't always know what you're getting. So yeah, there's no question. Fat-free is usually not a good sign. The best thing I could say is that the less ingredients, the better. The ingredient of broccoli is broccoli. You don't have to check the label of a piece of broccoli. It's a piece of broccoli. So the less ingredients, the better. The more simple, the better. Everything from nature, the better. So the less man messes with food, the better. Because you don't need to, Mother Nature has designed food to be perfect, exactly the way she wants it to be. And we don't need to, like white rice, is rice that, is stripped of its nutrients. It's not brown anymore, it's white. So, they bleach it. They literally bleach rice. So they take out the nutrients in the brown rice and they actually bleach it to make it look white, because people don't want to buy brown things because it doesn't look as good. And people want to buy more, white things in certain colors. But it will sell more rice, but it's certainly not better for your health. It's certainly worse for your health. Table sugar, same thing. They bleach it. And it's certainly not. These aren't things that you want in your body. It'll sell, but it may look better. But nature's not supposed to be perfect, and it's not supposed to look perfect. And if you were to find an organic apple, it's not going to look like a red, shiny, waxed, colored, beautiful round apple. It's not going to look like that. It's going to be healthier for you. A little dented and odd shaped, and three different colors, and that's the apple you want to eat.
Like people, John.
Yes.
It's 1:31.
Yes.
This is great.
I want to thank all of you for attending our Lunch and Learn, and please continue to attend our events. If anyone has any ideas or any events they'd like to see, again, just reach out to me. My contact information is there. I want to thank Gerry, John, and Chantea for presenting today. It was fantastic. We hope you all enjoyed it. It'll be posted online. Feel free to share it with the people that you know. And we hope to see you all on Friday for the Monmouth Regional Chamber of Commerce virtual percolator. And then next Tuesday, we have another Lunch and Learn with Gilda and Mike and myself, and we hope to see you all there. Have a great rest of your week. Enjoy, stay dry. Thank you all.
Yep, stay safe.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.